Right, so for today I was thinking to work a bit on my own thingy that I've been, working off screen. Though I'm kind of sad that I did it off screen because it was really interesting. And yeah, we are gonna take a look into some C in frontend. So that's kind of an interesting idea. I saw, a recent stream or a video, I don't really remember, from Tsoding where he did kind of the same thing but with GI. Although we don't have access to GI, so the next best thing is to do the same thing but in C, which I mean it was really painful. So yeah, let's take a look at how this thing works. So basically, I have this. If you go on GitHub and you create a repo with your own name .github.io, this thing gets deployed to like your own namespace, right, on GitHub pages. And you can create this kind of repo, add markdown files to it, and it's gonna look nice in a HTML page, right? So that's the main idea. And usually people will have things like posts, and inside of posts you'll put markdown files, usually with some metadata and then the post itself, right? So uh, this is the point where we are at, let's say. So you deploy GitHub pages and you can access these markdown files, right? So that's kind of the idea. They get nicely formatted, but that's mostly all you get from GitHub itself, right? You can use some actions to format HTML better, but in the end you still have to do some manual thing yourself. So yeah, basically we have these posts and we want to render them in some HTML, right? So that's the idea. And I did the basic stuff. So we take this post.html, which is a template, and we just want to add, some title or some CSS to it, some stuff like that. And then inside of the body, we want to put our markdown, right? So that's the main idea. But this is just a template, and we just saw that our markdown file has some title, it has some description to it. So we would like to get these things and somehow use them in our template, right? So that's another idea that we might have. And usually, I mean, there are projects like this. It's not an original idea or anything, but and usually they use these kind of escape sequences, right? And they have these blocks that look like code. In this case, it's actually C code, which is kind of funny. And inside of these blocks, you would write stuff like, okay, use the post metadata title in here, or maybe in here we create a header with the title of the post. So that's also something you can do. But usually these kind of languages are, I guess they are markup languages in a way. They have some special syntax, and they inject the post into the HTML, and then you can use the title, you can use tags, and then it also allows you to have for loops, most of these templating languages. And here you can see that we actually have a C for loop, so that's kind of funny. You can even call functions. Usually in these template languages they look more like piping. So if you ever done Angular, although I don't recommend it, it's like do something and then you pipe it into a function and then you pipe it again into another function. So that's how it usually looks like. But here we are just using C code, right? And again, just being able to call to C functions. So that was my idea, what I wanted to have. And you might wonder, well, but how can you do that? And yeah, let's take a look at the actual. So this obviously uses aids and argparks, why not? And the main thing, which I called dister because it's like moving things into dist. Yeah, let's take a look at how this thing kind of works, make a general idea, and then we can see what I wanted to do for today. So obviously we have this post metadata, which we just saw in the markdown file, the title, the description, the template to use, date, tags, whatever. Then we have some parsing functions. So these functions are used to parse the markdown file, and we are doing really simple parsing. So we are not really parsing the content itself. The content itself, we just keep it as a single string. We don't really care right now about formatting markdown. As you saw here, we just use the pre tag, so it's just plain markdown, like plain text file. But yeah, we just parse that post, right? We add some extra things to it, like reading time, maybe a button for next and previous. So we just create this structure that contains the information from the post.md file, right? We have some escaping functions, and then this would be the interesting part. How do we get this structure so that we are able to combine it with the HTML template? So we have this HTML template, and you can see that it uses this post, right? So that's the idea here. It uses the post. So what I did, we have this template parse function that reads one of these HTML files. It searches for these kind of blocks. If it finds one of these blocks, it just copy pastes the inner text as C code, and otherwise, if it's outside of one of these blocks, it just uses printf for this kind of HTML stuff. So basically we are taking the HTML file and we are converting it into a C file, and we can actually see the example. So this is the function that does that. It's not that complicated. It's just iterating over a string and seeing if you have seeing if you have the delimiter. So yeah, then we have this generate function that executes the template parsing, and it builds the post inside of the HTML, and that file is going to be generated inside of build, and obviously it's one line because I generated it. And you can see that it creates a post, it assigns some info to it, and then it has all of these prints. So it prints the content, it prints the HTML. I mean, yeah, it's kind of insane. I mean, again, I wish I did it on a video this because it was kind of painful, and usually painful stuff makes for fun content, but yeah, whatever. So yeah, basically this function generates that header file, and then we have another function that includes the header file. So you can think of it as if you make a mistake in the header file, this thing will not even build, so you have to delete the header file and create an empty one. That's kind of a funny consequence of this kind of thing. So, and now you might notice that we have two functions. One is generate and one is render. And as you might guess, you actually have to run this program twice to actually generate the HTML code. First, you have to generate the header file using the generate function, and then you have to generate the HTML using the render function. Sorry, did I say? I mean, I said generate the header file with generate and then render the header file with the render. So yeah, basically that's the idea. And I have this render script because that's kind of annoying to run every time, which does exactly that. So it compiles the main.c file, then it runs generate, then it compiles it again, and then it runs render. And it does this for all of the files in posts. And what I was thinking was, could we somehow maybe avoid needing this much shellcode. Like maybe we can actually read all of the files from main.c, generate a header file for all of the markdown files, and then running a single generate command. I think that would be more optimized in a way. So yeah, why not just try to do something like that? So yeah, basically I'm gonna create a new generate function. I'm gonna still keep these two because why not, until until we are sure that our new prototype works. I'm still gonna keep this intact. So yeah, hopefully this will also give you more insight on how this actually works. So let's create a new generate command, a new render command, and let's add them in here. So it's gonna be generate, right? We're gonna have a main generate and a main render. Obviously we can copy paste one of these, no problem. I'm gonna put it somewhere here, and it's gonna be our main generate. It's gonna still take argc argv. We're gonna need an arg parse. Okay, compile. The posts into a C executable, right? We are gonna take as an argument the directory, so directory, I guess, or maybe posts. I guess let's call it p, path to the posts directory to generate c4 c4. Okay, so this is gonna be an argument type, I guess. Maybe it's positional because it's required. So we are gonna require this posts directory. Is gonna be a single file, and let's say get value or default, and the default value is gonna be posts. Also, then it's not required, but yeah, let's say it's not required, but it's still positional. Okay, so this is gonna give us a char pointer. So let's say char pointer posts directory or posts path is gonna be this. Maybe it's like posts directory path, right? So we want to take this directory path. Okay. Maybe I want to remove this because yeah, why not? What that string slice was for, but let's keep it. So now the next thing that we want to do is to list all the files in a directory. So maybe we can have a helper function for that. Let's say static void. We might want to put this one into a.h. Is gonna be like io list files in directory, and I would assume let's keep it as void for now. So it's gonna take as an argument a const char pointer path, or maybe it's gonna be a string slice for the path. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. Let's keep it simple for now. So then we are also gonna have an aids array. and this one is gonna change. So we have a pointer, and then let's call this one files. So this is gonna be our function that we are gonna use to get all the posts. List file in directory, and this one is gonna be posts directory path, and then we need an array. So let's define it here. AIDS array file paths, maybe. So this is gonna be the file paths for and it's interesting. I guess this one I want it to be AIDS string slice as a type. Okay, so let's initialize it here. AIDS array init file paths size of AIDS string slice, and we pass it in here. So we'll have to implement this one, but for now let's pretend that it's implemented just to keep going. So we have all the paths. Then we want an array for posts. Makes sense. So let's do an AIDS array posts. This one is gonna be for post. Forgot the semicolon. So we initialize this thing, then we are gonna iterate our files, so our file paths. So let's do file paths dot count, and then AIDS string slice. This one needs to be a pointer, so let's make it like that, and then AIDS array get file paths I, and then is void pointer says, or I guess I changed this to unsigned char. Okay, I mean this one can fail, but to do, oh, I guess we already have a copy paste. No, we don't. Okay, whatever, I'm gonna do that myself. Okay, so here we are. Let's call it file path. Let's call it file path. Then we have another string slice here that we need to define. So maybe we'll define it here. AIDS string slice says, although it might be better to define it at the top so we can actually free it in case something bad happens around here. So we try to read the file from file path. I guess here it wants a const char pointer. Then I mean I can say just .str for now. Okay, I guess, yeah, fine, whatever. So we read into ss, fail to read file. Here we can actually use file path.len, or I guess it's arrow len, file path arrow str. Oh, and then this one needs to be int or something. Okay. Then we have start post. Here I wanted this so that I can free it. So I'm gonna say char pointer start post, but I guess it has to be unsigned just for that. Okay, so then we are gonna try to parse this post. So I'm gonna do file path str. Okay, maybe I want to change this to use string slices instead of char pointers, but I'll see about that. Okay, this one is just like here. We just crash the program if it fails. Then we are printing some information like the post ID, post title, description, template, date, so on. Here we are also filling in some additional things. I don't think I want to do them here though. I'll have to see. Oops. But yeah, for now let's just keep it simple, right? So here we are appending the post to the list of posts. We are still gonna do that. Then we want to have a template path builder, so we want to read the template file, and here we are gonna do both the HTML and the XML files. So yeah, so we want template path builder as a variable, so it's a aids string builder template path builder. It should be empty. Right. This one needs to be char pointer template path sister. Maybe we just initialize it at null, as null. Then we do something with that. Then we initialize the string slice. All right, so we just reuse SS. Yeah, maybe yeah. Okay. Then I said here that we want to do the RSS and the XML in the same function. So let's do RSS first because it's the easier one. We already have it. So let's have here char pointer start template, or I guess it needs to be unsigned. Okay, we are saving it so we can free it. Then we have the template builder, which needs to be another string builder. Right, so we want to parse the template, and we are getting a template slice. Then we want to build the header file, but here I'm thinking that I want to have a single header file. Right. So like we have the slice, and I would like to have a single header file. Although yeah, we can have two, one for the RSS template and one for but I still think I want only one. And this header file will just write to every other file that we need to generate. I think that would make sense. So I'm just gonna call it like template, or maybe let's call it dister.h because that's the name of our thingy. So let's have a builder for the template path. So this is gonna be dister path builder, right? And we need to put it here. Then we have dister path c string. Okay, and then here I was writing the template slice. So template parse. String builder to string slice. So we have the template builder, and in the template builder we append all the posts, and then we append the RSS content. Sure. We'll have to add more stuff to it, but for now let's just say that we do this. Okay, and here we have this. Then in the differ, I'm gonna do free memory, but for now it's not important because it's like it's not a while loop or anything over this thing, so it should be fine. So again, like we are parsing the posts, then I don't know, I want to have like some helper functions for these things. Maybe it's kind of bulky for reading a single file, but whatever. Okay, so yeah, basically the idea is we are reading the XML, we are building the XML path, then we are reading the contents, we are putting here the posts, then the template. I mean, we can try to see how this thing will look like, but first we need to write this function to generate the files in a directory. So C how can we list all the files in a directory? I think I looked into this one at some point. So we need to use this open dir function. No, it's kind of annoying that when I switch from, yeah, okay. So for dir, I think I need isn't it like dir end or something? Okay, yeah, it was dir end. We need, I mean, let's just, copy paste from Stack Overflow. That's like, wow. Okay, so if this is not a directory, we just print. That's basically what we want to do, right? We want to find all the files. So that's kind of what we need here. So in blue is gonna print okay, so if it's let's see what we have here. So we have dir block reg I think reg not sure. We'll just print it just to see what we have, and otherwise we are not gonna do anything on the else case because we are not really interested in anything else. So let's just show the files. So it has the name. Oh, it's interesting. The file has a limit of 256. Didn't know that. Okay, so let's see if this thing will print all the files. That's the first thing that we kind of need to do. So if we just build main, we don't have a main render yet. let's just not do anything there. Okay, so we have that working. So let's do generate posts and let's see if it lists all the files inside of posts. Nice. So it actually generates, it lists them. However, it's not ordered. We might have to look into that, how we can order them, but that's another story. Okay, so here we just want to append them inside of files. But I also wanted to create string slices from them. And I think, but I'm not sure, we might have to str dupe the things. I'm pretty sure we have to str dupe them, so yeah. Okay, so let's do aids string slice, and let's do string slice from I think it's gonna be from C string. I don't think this one has a, it has a D type. Reclen, what's reclen? I don't think it's the name length name, so yeah. So from sister, and I think I need to str dupe the dir the name. Okay, so we create this thing and then we do aids array append. Inside of files, we want to put our SS reference. I think I need to cast it to unsigned, yeah. Okay, so unsigned char pointer, and we just pass it in here. Obviously this one can fail, but to handle errors. But when I'm just gonna copy this into a.h, I'm gonna check everything. So that's gonna give us all the files. So let's see if we are gonna see them in here, right? So if we compile this thing and then we run it, okay, so that's just the file name. But we might want to put, well, do we want this function to return the paths or just the file names? That's something we can think about. So here it's the file path, and then we are using the file path in read. I guess, yeah, let's do, instead of just str dupe, let's create a string builder. So aids string builder, and the string builder is gonna be sb 0 aids string builder init. Let's initialize sb, and then aids string builder append, and here we can append stuff. Okay, we are gonna do sb %s/%s, and let's do path and dir. Oh, it has some stuff, but we don't really care. Okay, and then we can do aids string builder to slice, and we can actually pass in here sb and ss. Right, and obviously we might want to free some memory there, but we don't really care. So we get first post and then the second, but the order is different. Right, and let's take a look at the header file now. So we have this build distr, and you can see that it's basically creating a post, right? It's not the right order, but we'll see how we can do that. Then it initializes the tags, appends the tags or whatever. We have the content. I mean, the content is not really needed, but whatever. And then it appends to the posts array, it appends the post, right? So here it builds one post and it appends it into an array of posts. Then it does the same thing, and then we have a write. Okay, and this write basically writes the string from here into, if we take a look in here in the render function, we define write as string builder append into an SB. And now the idea is we might want to redefine SB every time, and then at the end of the in the header file we want to write the contents to a file. So that's something we might want to include in the rss.h, right? Okay, so let's see how we can do something like that. Okay, so this one is just gonna give us the path, the RSS template. Here we're reading. Okay, let's read the other template now. So we should search for post.html. Oh, weird, isn't it post? Okay, I'll generate post. So okay, so the post actually is, or I guess the template is in the post. Interesting. So let's copy paste this part. Let's go into generate, and let's, so here we are appending this thing to a list. That makes sense for the RSS probably. But I'm pretty sure I want to put this thing into the for loop. Okay, so we need template builder. Let's template path builder. Let's copy paste it here. So yeah, we are taking the template path from the metadata, we are putting it here, we are converting it into a C string. So let's also copy paste this thing here, and then we should somehow read that template like here. So we should read the template. Let's do another string slice, read the template. Let's go again to main, generate post. So after we read the template, we need to parse it. Let's just copy paste all of this because we are going to need kind of most of that. So again, we create a template builder, aids string builder template builder. We don't want to append the post because we just did that. We did it here. Oh, we already have a template builder, so we don't even need to create a new one. Isn't that right? So we have this template builder. Okay, so let's actually think about it. So we want to append a post, but we want to do it like inside of append posts. Right, with that thing there. So let's copy paste this part. So what I would do in here is we want to append to the template builder an opening. Okay, yeah, let's also define the post like that. Then we append a full post. Probably we don't need that. Then we want to append saying, okay, let's append the post to the posts array. I'm just thinking that can we do the same stuff, but nah, I don't think that would be. I think this would be a bit easier. So yeah, I mean, we still kind of want to append it, but maybe only last 4 posts for RSS, something like that, right? Not sure yet. Then we want to append the closing brace, and I think I'd say I want to parse the template, but I want to parse it before closing the parentheses. We don't want to convert it to a slice yet. We don't want to write it yet. So we are not going to do that. Okay. So now we are pretty much going in a for loop over all the markdown files. We are parsing each post. We are reading the template, the HTML template for a post. Then we have this start template. We are writing some stuff into it. We append kind of this thing. We append the post itself. We want to add the post to the posts array. That's an okay idea. Then we are parsing the template and then putting the closing parentheses. That makes sense. What we want to do before doing template parse, but let's just do a comment for now. Initialize a new SB for this template for write and markdown, right? So we want to write this result to a separate file, but for now we are just gonna do it like that. Then we are building the rss.xml template. let's do something like this. So I think I just want these variables, to be honest. Then for SS, I have to define a new one. Age string slice SS. Maybe I want to actually I think that's fine. Oh, so I was defining a new one here, but we don't really want to define a new one. Then we have template builder. So let's do age string builder. But if we create a new template builder, we also have to age string builder in it. And we append this thing, we append that. I mean, it looks fine. And here, let's say we create a new block just to have some idea. So here we are creating the template path. Then we need a string slice for the contents, right? Then we need string builder template builder for, we no longer append the posts because we do that already. Oh, and that's interesting. Template builder needs to be defined over here and also initialized, because yeah, we are putting a bunch of stuff into it. So we don't want to initialize, we want to initialize these. What oh, it's template path. Okay, I copy pasted the wrong thing. It needs to be template builder. So yeah, now it should work. So aids string builder to slice. I don't know why I created a slice here. It's kind of weird. And this third path is string. Fair enough, this could be inside. Although I think I forgot something around here when we... So here we read the RSS template, but we don't parse it. So instead of generate RSS, Yeah, I guess I deleted this thing for some reason. So like after we read it, we need to parse it. Yeah, unsure why I deleted that, but whatever. So let's see what this thing will generate. So if we compile it and we run it, let's check out this file. So what I would expect to see here is, again, just defining the posts, defining the tags, whatever, and then I would expect to see these append to the array, appending the post to the post array, and then some write calls, right, and a bunch of stuff from the template. So all of these write calls, you see that they don't specify a file where to write. They are just write this thing, right? So that's what happens. And then we have the second post, the same stuff with a call to write. And here obviously what's I think no, I mean it's complaining because you know, but then it writes the RSS stuff. And for the RSS stuff, it calls to write again, and it does a for loop over the posts, and then right, it does this kind of stuff. So now what I'm curious actually is, let's say we have, let's do the easy test.c file. So we're gonna do include stdio.h int main printf hello world. So let's do clang test.c a.out. Perfect. So what I was thinking now, yo, hello everyone. Frontend in C, so yeah, kind of. So no, not really instead of JavaScript, but you know, some people are creating blog posts and they are using those templating languages like markup languages. And I thought it could be fun because I saw in a Tsoding video where he did kind of the same thing but with Jai, but we don't have access to Jai, so I used C, and it was really painful to get it to work, but um, I mean that makes it more fun, to be honest. But instead of those markup languages, I decided to try and use C directly embedded in HTML. So yeah, it kind of is like using JavaScript, but we are just putting C code in here and then we have to interpret it, right? So that's kind of the idea, using these blocks. And usually people are using like before this I was using Ruby. I think it has a special package and you can just write some for loops, if statements, and they get converted to HTML. So what this thing would do is take this HTML code and convert it to C code, just like we saw here in build distr. We read that entire HTML file and we generate C code for it. And you can see the HTML being just inside of printf statements, right? So the HTML will go into printf statements and the C code stays as C code. So it gets turned inside out, if you will. But now I was thinking, what if we do a define called write, and let's take this thing takes a string, and let's do something like printf percentage s str, but let's also do something like name, maybe like that. And then we can do char pointer name is equal to hello. I don't know why I called it name, but and then we can do write comma world. And then what if we change the name to something else and then we write again? Does it complain expected parentheses? Ah, no, it's good. I don't know why it expects parentheses. Okay, whatever. Let's put the name inside of printf, and then we have two of these. Oh, and I have to spell printf, right? So if we compile this thing and we run it, I would expect to see two different outputs. And the idea is we have this name in here, which is, I mean, it's really bad practice to do something like this, but you know, it works. It's like using global variables in a way. But I think it's much worse because yeah, you shouldn't do this, but you know, I'm a trained professional, so just kidding. Okay, so that's my idea for how to do that. Okay, so let's get back to the for loop. So in here, when we insert the post, I also want to insert creating a new string builder. So it's gonna be something like aids string builder. Hopefully that was kind of yeah, kind of like go temple. Yeah, it's like a templating HTML. No, it's not gonna be WASM though, but yeah, it's kind of like a templating language. So let's create an SB. It's gonna be empty. And we have to initialize it. So aid string builder init SB. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to insert in here. So we are creating a new string builder for each post. And then I also kind of want to create a new string builder for this guy, but I don't remember where the printing happens. Wait, what? Oh yeah, no, it's here, template parse. I'd say let's not really care about this part right now. Let's comment it out. So we are appending this string builder in here, and I would say at the end, so when we finish this, we want to write the string builder. So how do we usually write stuff with the string builder is we create a slice. Then we have to do a bunch of stuff though. So maybe we can have a function for it. Or something like a define. Let's see. So because we want to write an SB to a file, so that's what we want to do. Maybe we can check the render function. So here, instead of creating the SB here, we are going to create it inside of the header file. Right, we call to post. Then here I need this kind of stuff. So let's have a function for it. Let's do I mean, I can create it anywhere, it doesn't matter. So it's gonna be a static void write like template write to index, and we'll see what variables do we need. So we need HTML path builder, that's a string builder. The SB itself should probably come as an argument. So the SB is what we are gonna write. Okay. Then we need the post ID, which right now is a string. Well, let's just pass the post. Why not? Let's just pass the post. Here we need a char HTML path sister. And I think that's all. So we just need to call this function now. So let's go back to the big for loop and right at the end. So here we need to call that function. So template write to index SB and post. And actually this thing is going to be called from within the header file, so it needs to be inside of the string. So okay, now let's try to check how the header file looks like. So if we format it nicely, we can see the old stuff. Let's actually check first. Weird, wasn't I creating some stuff there? I guess I have to delete it. I think otherwise it's so build, otherwise I think it's, wait, what? Oh, I also have to run it. I'm stupid, I'm sorry. Okay, and let's check the build. That's the weird part. You have to compile your code and then run generate, which, yeah. So here we create a string builder, then we create a post, and this write function is supposed to write in that string builder, so in the one that we just created. So hopefully that's gonna happen. And then at the end we call to template write to index. So this hopefully should write to the index file, this string builder, and then we go again, and that should be all. So now let's try to create that render function. So let's uncomment this thing. Let's copy paste the render. Well, I want to copy paste the render post one. It's shorter. So let's copy paste it here, maybe. Main render. We no longer want to create the SB like this. We just want something like that. And here we are going to include dister.h. So we don't want to create a post, HTML path builder. We don't need those. We don't even need this part. Okay, so what's the complaint? I used posts. Yeah, it makes sense because we want posts, but that's, you know, maybe we can include posts in the H file as well. So now this should just create the HTML files for all of the posts. Let's remove this and see if that actually happens. So first we have to compile main to generate the header file, or actually to just compile main. Then we have to generate the header file with generate posts. Then we have to compile main again. I mean, I know it. And then we have to do render. And this should fail to open file because it doesn't know how to create a directory. So I mean, I guess I'm gonna create the directories myself in here somehow. So do we have this? We don't even have this. Okay, so we have to create this and the directory. Okay, so let's check. C create directory. Yeah, it's just a label, and return defer does a go to that label, so it's something that you see usually in Go. So that's kind of the reason why I added that. Okay, so it's not make dir. Okay, let's include everything. Also, it's in stat. Okay, so let's check whether the directory exists, and let's create it. So first we need to check if we need to check if this exists. We create it if it doesn't, and then we need not the HTML path but the dir, or I guess ID path. So we try to build the ID path. Now, sadly, oh, instead of using this like a noob, let's use the macro that we generated for this. So this is gonna give us that where to build ID path. Then we have ID path sister, and then we have to create this folder as well. Yeah, sure. So if we now we should just recompile main and be able to call render. Nice. So this should have created two HTML files, 001 and 002. I guess, obviously we are missing a bunch of stuff from dist. We don't have the CSS, we don't have, so we still kind of need a bash script for, copy reset into dist, copy main.css into dist. But yeah, even the buttons still work. Now, obviously this is just, yeah, like basically here what I wanted to do was, instead of having to use render and do a for loop using bash, I just wanted to have the for loop done inside of the C code. So that was the main idea. And now we can just get rid of these cases because these two do all of them. But you know, I just have to clean this up. But yeah, I think that's a good point for us. Like we managed to get this stuff going. Like also the fact that render function is so small now, that's kind of nice. But yeah, hopefully this was interesting. So yeah, I know that I could have used Next.js and Tailwind, but here we are doing C for anything basically. So yeah, and also I have to reorder the pages. So where we can do that is here when we read the folders. When we get the folders, we might want to sort them. Maybe I can do a to-do here. Sort the files by name. Or I don't know, maybe we are gonna have some options in here that we can do something like that. Yeah, we just raw dog. Yeah, 1,000 lines of code. I mean, once we get rid of these couple of things, it's gonna be less because now we can delete these. Right. I mean, we can kind of delete these, so we get 7. Yeah, I mean, it's the same stuff, but yeah, but what you have to think about is the problem with C is that it's extremely verbose. So you have to write everything. And one thing I noticed, especially in the Steg project, where I actually fixed the conversion to Fourier transform, and now it actually works. I'm gonna do a stream on that soon, and we're gonna implement DCT. But in Python or in JavaScript, when I program, I don't really think about, oh, I allocate this memory. I just, create a new array. You just create it. But in C code, every time I use a malloc, I'm like, I hate this shit. I don't like it. I don't want to use malloc. I guess I called it realloc just because of that reason. But I mean, obviously, this thing allocates a bunch of memory, but yeah, when you allocate memory in C, it's like, it's so painful. I don't want to allocate memory. But in Python, you don't even think about it. So, but yeah, I guess that's gonna be it for today. Thank you everyone for joining and chatting. No, it doesn't have middleware. It's just the purpose of this is to be just HTML. So if we no, it's just HTML. It's just a static website. So I think I did something like a backend in C a while back. I don't remember how it's called. I think API.h. API.h. And this you were able to curl like a C backend. And instead of examples, you can actually see, oh, it was also serving HTML files. So how this thing was working, you were defining a router just like in, I don't know, the Node.js package to do API. I don't remember it, but yeah, you just create routes and you put a callback, and then the callback just does something. So this was the, and I think it was pretty small, like 400 lines of code, and this was, and this basically is an file-based API, right? So you make based on the folders that you create, it searches for those files or something like that. I don't really remember, but that was the C backend. Maybe, I mean, we could try to include it in here, but again, like this, I'd see this thing more as a tool for generating HTML, right? So this would generate a dist folder, and then the dist, oh, ls, and then the dist folder can be served by anything. I mean, right now I'm using Python 3 HTTP serve, so yeah. But that would be a cool idea to try and serve this thing with our own C backend, but you know, we kind of already have it. Right, so again, that was all for today, and we'll see in the next one. So until then, see you.